everyone, how are you today? We are back talking about this topic, which is brand yourself. In the month of January, we have been speaking about this topic because I think, Moti, is the beginning of the year.
Yes.
People are planning how to better themselves, how to improve, how to change certain things.
People are making plans of things that they want to achieve. But if they don't brand themselves according to those plans, then obviously this is going to be all pointless, right?
That's it. And the topic today is efficiency. You know, how efficient are you? And I'm not talking about those who work, because maybe you are going to school, college, and you still can look at yourself and notice if you are efficient in what you do or what is given to you or not. We are giving a very interesting example before we start the program, which is, for example, let's start those who are going to school. Sometimes, of course, all of you go to school, college, you have homework, you have tasks, things that you have to do. Do you leave for the last minute? Do you just do anyhow, you know, just so you can present that and say, I did it? This is the difference between those who succeed and those who just pass the year, but it's like standard, right?
I mean, this is the difference between people who are excellent and people who are average and people who are normal, right? It's the level of their efficiency that determines who they are. And if we look at employers, when we look at employers, or we look at anyone who's willing to invest in someone for a particular reason, be it to give them a scholarship, be it to allow them to come and have an apprenticeship in their company, the first thing that they look at is efficiency, because if they are, I mean, it's a matter of intelligence, right? We all want to invest in people who are going to give us a good return for our investment. So the same at school, the same at university, people want to invest, professors, teachers want to invest in the students that are going to give them a good return. And what is the measure of that return? The measure of that return is your efficiency. So if you're efficient, if you're learning well, that's why we have tests at school, right? We get tested to test our level of efficiency, and if we are learning well and if we are receiving back, we are absorbing what is being taught to us in a good way, then we are branding ourselves in a good way, isn't it?
And as we have been speaking every month, you know that it doesn't mean that you have to be in this way. It means that you have to notice what is lacking on you, and then you can apply. For example, speaking about efficiency, you have to notice, as we were saying before, if you are not organized, for example, if you don't plan ahead, if you don't see how you can improve yourself, how can you excel. So these little details, when you stop and think about these things, these are ways that will lead you to excel, to become excellent, to become efficient as well. And maybe last year you didn't succeed at school or college or at work. Notice if you were efficient or not, because if this was lacking, is something that you can add into your life in 2016.
And I think one of the things that this series is teaching us is that nothing happens by chance, right? When we brand ourselves, it means we are taking responsibility to make ourselves the brand that we want to be. None of us are born efficient. None of us are born speaking well like we spoke in the past. None of us are born with these traits that we want to acquire. But when you brand yourself, when you decide this is who I want to be, it's a decision that you make. It comes from your mind. It comes from analyzing where you want to be, where you want to reach. So you have a destination. Oh, I want to be this type of person. I want to be this kind of employee, this kind of student. So when you start having that in mind, when you start creating that brand in mind, then you can start working towards it. So what you shouldn't do is look at yourself or listen to us, look at yourself and think, oh, I'm not this way, so I'm just such a horrible student, I'm just such a horrible employee. No, the first step is realizing, well, yes, I have room for improvement and I want to improve, so what can I do to improve, right? What can I do to be better, to become efficient?
You know, Moti, talking about work, I remember when I was at uni, I had one of the lecturers. She used to be a director of a big company. She had a lot of employees under her who she needs to direct and so on. And she'd say that sometimes she would pass by the offices and look around, see what they were doing. And sometimes she would just stop and ask, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this, this and that. Okay, so why are you doing that? Someone told me to do. Immediately she said that in that moment she would recognize that employee was not good to the company, for the company, because he was not efficient. She said that he didn't know what he was doing. So when you don't know what you are doing, when you are not into it, you can't become excellent, because you're not going to excel yourself in what you are doing. So this is a problem as well many people face, especially at work. When they are doing something, they just say, I'm doing this because this is my job, this is what I have to do.
It's a job description, but they haven't put their mind into it, right? They are not thinking about it, because I mean, I'm putting myself in the shoes of that employer who comes and walks around and asks, so why are you doing this? Or because I'm told. So if someone does something just because they're told, it means they're not applying themselves to that position. They haven't taken responsibility for that position or for that work that they're doing. And if you don't take responsibility for the work that you're doing, if you don't do it because you want to do it, because you realize the importance of doing that work, then what's going to happen? You're not going to think about improving that work. You're going to wait for someone else to come and tell you how to improve it. And so for an employee, you become a liability, because who wants to employ someone that they have to think for? If they employed you, it's because they want you to bring your contribution to that position. They want you to bring your contribution, your thoughts, your ideas. And if you're someone who does things solely because you're told to, then you're not going to contribute much. So that's a bad message to send to your employer, right? And I'm thinking they're wondering, Raquel, so what do I do to become efficient? I am not someone who is efficient. I'm listening to you now and I'm not efficient. How do I begin being efficient? Well, stick around, because we're going to tell you after this break. We're going to go for a break, but after the break, we'll tell you exactly what you need to do to become an efficient person.
Hello, we are back speaking about the month of January, Brand Yourself. And today we are talking about efficiency. This is something that sometimes when people hear Moti, they get a bit frustrated, as we were speaking before our break. Sometimes you say, I'm not efficient and this is who I am. You don't need to remain in this way. You can start learning, what can I apply? What can I add into my life in order to become an efficient person? And some of the points we were thinking about to share with you are these. The first one would be, think outside the box. You are there at your desk, you are doing your work. Don't only think about what you are doing. Think about the whole company or the whole department. In which way you can add, in which way you can adapt to other people's need, what you can maybe take from what you are doing that maybe takes longer or is not helping someone, or what can you add to help your department. So the first point would be think outside the box.
And I think for them to do that, Raquel, they need to get into the mind of their boss, right? The best way for you to think globally, to think like a leader, is to get into the mind of your leader. So start understanding the company from the perspective of your boss. So have conversations with your boss. Understand his vision. Understand what it is that he wants to achieve in his company. What is it that he's working towards? Because that helps you to think globally as well. So you begin to see how you can contribute, and there you become efficient in what you do, because you see yourself from a global perspective within your company, and not just from that perspective of the little desk that you own, right? And one of the things you may say, for example, well, think like my boss. That's difficult. And one of the things that you need in order to be efficient is to be a resourceful person. So if you're someone who doesn't know how to do certain things, you cannot just stop there. You know, people who tell themselves, well, I don't know how to do this. How am I going to do this? And then that becomes the end of the road for them. You can't stop at a point where you're limited. When you reach a limitation, you have to work at finding a way out. So you have to be someone who tells yourself, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to find out how to do it.
This is a big problem. What you know, many people nowadays, I've seen these in companies. When you ask, oh, do you know how to do? No, I don't. Oh, can you help me? I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, can you do this? I don't know how to do it. So these kind of people, you cannot count for greater responsibilities.
I remember an example that I will never ever forget, because every time I think of it, I die of shame. I remember we had a boss come into a company where I was, and we were there working, and he actually, I served him tea, and he asked for a serviette, and I didn't have a serviette, and then he's like, can I please have a serviette, because he spilled a little bit of the tea onto the saucer, and I'm like, I don't have a serviette. And that's where the conversation ended. Today, when I think about it, I die inside, because what should I have done? I don't have a serviette, but don't worry, I'll find something. I'll find a tea cloth. I'll find a solution. And that's what many people do. I don't have a solution, and therefore this is the end of the road.
That's
for
your
me.
problem, it's not mine. I don't have it.
Exactly, it's your problem. I don't have it, I'm sorry. But efficient people, when you're someone who's efficient, you never accept no as an answer. No for yourself, I mean. You never accept yourself to get to the point where you give someone a no. It may be a no for now, but a yes for later, right?
One more step, Moti, that is really important, that makes a person an efficient employee or an efficient student, is to take the initiative. When you sometimes just wait to be told what to do, you never become an efficient person. So start thinking ahead and thinking, what can I do? What else can I do? Well, they never asked for these graphics, but I know that if I make these graphics, it will help them to understand better what I'm doing. They will understand better how much we have been spending the company. So they didn't ask. It's not in my job description, but I can do that. I have the information. I can put things together and do it. So you are taking an initiative that no one asked you to, but it's going to be very helpful to the company as well.
But what happens in that situation is many people begin to think, what if I take the initiative and it doesn't work, right? What if I try something and it doesn't work? Trust me, as someone who mentors other people, many times I see people attempting something and really it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. And you think, okay, bad choice there. You shouldn't have done it that way. You should have done it that way. But the initiative it becomes a point of beginning to teach them how to make it work. So if they didn't take the initiative, they will never learn how to make things work. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Employees love to see this. Teachers love to see this. So for example, if a teacher asks you a question and you raise your hand and you get the question wrong, they will appreciate you more than someone who may have known the answer but didn't raise their hand to answer the question. So if you take an initiative, you are showing that you are a participant. So the person who is above you, who is investing in you, loves that, because they see that this person is participating in my project. They are making themselves a part of my project. So they love it. They know you may make a mistake, but they will have the pleasure to teach you, so that they know that the next time you take that initiative, you will have the skill to make it work, right?
Yeah, so we can see that to become an efficient person, you cannot definitely remain in your comfort zone.
Never.
You have to take the risks. You have to you know, give some steps that you never did before.
Right.
But you know, you are going on your journey to become a better person.
And I know we're running out of time, but one last thing that we absolutely cannot forget to mention is for you to become an efficient person, you really have to be an organized person. And being an organized person isn't taking your day as it comes. So you wake up every day and you think, okay, it's Monday, I need to go to school, and you fall into your routine. Being an organized person is someone who plans ahead. So like a budget, you know, when you're organized with your money and you make a budget and you know that 10 pounds go towards transport, 20 pounds go towards this, and this goes towards that. So you know where each cent or each penny that you have is gonna go. You need to do the same for your time. So you need to know where each minute is gonna go. Well, maybe each hour, where each hour is gonna go. So if you want to become an efficient person, you have to budget your time. You have to wake up knowing exactly how that day is going to unfold, because that's going to help you to deal with things that are unexpected as well. If you get a project that's unexpected, it's not going to overwhelm you because you already know where to fit it in, what to shift, what to put where and when. So be someone who's organized, and that's the beginning of efficiency. We've given you such a lot of tips.
That's it. And our time's up. We finished with our program today. But next week we have more, right? Yes,
next week we have our final advice on how you can brand yourself, and you're gonna love it. So hope to see you next week.
Bye-bye.